5 years ago, one of the greatest games during the last generation of consoles launched on the PlayStation 4. What happens when you combine dinosaurs and robots together with a likable female protagonist in a vast open world? Well, you get Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, 5 years later, Guerrilla Games have done it again, but bigger. Horizon Forbidden West just launched, and I've been playing the heck out of this thing, and I already have almost 30 hours into it, and I'm not even finished yet. But the question is, has all those hours been worth it? Is Horizon Forbidden West's expensive price tag unimportant for a title such as this? Well, let's dive right into the different aspects of the game, and I'll give you my honest thoughts on it. In Horizon Forbidden West, you play as Aloy, the fiery redhead protagonist that we played as in the last game. Now, saying that, it sounds like you would have to play Horizon Zero Dawn in order to understand the story in Forbidden West. While yes, having played Zero Dawn would help you with some context to certain events and characters, you don't necessarily have to start from the last game, as Forbidden West does a pretty swell job at informing you of the past events, even if you don't get a more in-depth introduction of what happened before. But you basically get the gist of it. Let's talk about Aloy for a moment. How is she as the lead character? Well, if you played Horizon Zero Dawn, then she's obviously the same person as before. Only it feels like she's wiser and stronger, but still vulnerable. In Forbidden West, we see her take up the mantle as the savior of the world once again. But shouldering this responsibility by herself visibly puts a toll on her, and it's easier to both relate and empathize with her this time around. This is partly also because of the improved animations. If you played Zero Dawn, you might remember that a lot of the NPCs and even Aloy herself could be a little stale while engaging in conversations. In Forbidden West, we get all kinds of different body language, facial expressions, and other text that makes the characters feel much more alive. And this is one of the things that have impressed me most so far. Being a huge Mass Effect nerd, I've come to realize just how difficult animating characters can be. And if there's one thing that I hope other games in the future take inspiration from, it's the effort put into animations for Horizon Forbidden West. Not only does it look so much better, but as I stated before, it really makes it easier to connect with characters and the overall story because you're getting more immersed into the game world. Speaking of the world, the map size of Forbidden West is, well, in short, absolutely massive. And it's just mind-boggling how much content they've filled the world with. Most of the activities that you'll do are side missions, contracts, and other odd jobs, but the map is filled with curiosities that you just can't help but explore. And considering that the Horizon franchise is set almost 1,000 years into the future, it's always really cool to find artifacts from the old world, which is one of the types of discoverable things that you can find in the game. It's pretty obvious though that Forbidden West takes a lot of inspiration from other franchises. Games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls, Monster Hunter, and heck, even Mass Effect seems to have made its mark somewhere in the development cycle. A slight spoiler here, but examples are the energy shield that lets Aloy glide through the air, just like Link does in Breath of the Wild. The combat can sometimes be unforgiving, and even on normal difficulty you have to stay on your toes when fighting basically any machine, where you usually have to resort to traps and gadgets to deal with them, which is both very reminiscent of Dark Souls' difficulty and Monster Hunter's unforgiving, well, monsters. So, I mentioned that the combat can be unforgiving because Forbidden West is actually a very tactical game. Sure, it's a real-time action game and you can't stop time to choose your actions like in a classic RPG game. But what I mean here is Aloy's traps, gadgets, and weapons. Forbidden West introduces a wide variety of different metallic beasts for you to take down, either for materials or just for the sheer challenge of doing so. All these machines have both weaknesses and strengths, and it's up to you to figure out how to take these machines down in the most effective way. And trust me, being effective about hunting machines is going to be incredibly important if you don't want to break your controller in a blind rage. Because even if Aloy can charge headfirst into battle, spear in hand, it's not always such a good idea to do so. While her spear can be used to quickly dispatch humans and smaller machines, you're gonna be in trouble if you do this with, say, a Thunderjaw. key thing to think about in Forbidden West is namely, size matters. And dealing with bigger machines are sometimes best done with long-range bows and traps instead of putting yourself directly in front of metallic jaws of death. While this may sound like a daunting task, just taking a second to think about how you're approaching a machine is easier than it sounds. Also, the satisfaction you get from taking down a huge monstrous robot beast is just immense, and it's always worth it in the end.
Brutal, savage, ranked.
Now, I talked about dispatching humans there for a second. So what about the human enemies? Well, there's not really much to say. In order to not spoil the story for you, I can't say much about them, but honestly, the human enemies in the game are fodder. Aside from being annoying gnats, they're basically piñatas that you can kill just because it rewards you with a chunk of experience. While some of Aloy's executions for humans are cool, I think that the human killing parts of the game could have used some blood or something, because spearing someone through their stomach should rightly run the ground red. But hey, it's not an R-rated game, so what can you do? Still, humans are just not as interesting as enemies, and serve more as plot reminders, because honestly, you won't encounter human enemies that much when out exploring the world. This isn't to say that the main plot isn't interesting, because it is, and I think that the main story is highly engaging. Not only this, but it works in great synergy with the side content of the game. You see, every now and then, the main story missions can get a little difficult and some opponents are just simply too strong. When this happens, it usually means that you have to go out into the game world and get yourself stronger, such as leveling up Aloy, unlocking new abilities, and getting new armor and weapons. It goes very well together with the overall story, as you can feel Aloy get progressively stronger and she grows more and more famous for her deeds. Of course, you could just Hail Mary blast through the main missions, but it's not going to be easy if you decide to not do any of the side content. And you'd be missing out, because honestly, the world of Forbidden West is just so intricately crafted, and I can't say that you'd get all your money's worth if you decide to not explore the map and all its content. Hell, Aloy is an expert swimmer, and you can find even more stuff in the more watery sections of the map. And while you're out there looting everything you see, you don't even have to worry about filling up your inventory, because when your bags have reached their limit, the stuff you pick up gets sent to a stash that Aloy can access while in camps around the world. Which is great, because you don't have to think about inventory management. Oh, and you can ride machine raptors this time around. Hell yeah! What I'm trying to say here is that, yes, if there's any game that's worth buying at full price nowadays, it's definitely Horizon Forbidden West. This game is the purest example of what a AAA title should be. Aloy is a likable protagonist, the story is engaging, and the game world is massive with a lot of things to do that ties together with the overall main plot of the game. The graphics are absolutely phenomenal, and we finally have a game that really feels like what this generation of graphics should be, at least for the PlayStation 5. You can choose between performance mode or resolution mode, and while the game looks more crisp on resolution, I just can't stand playing at 30 frames per second, so I favor performance mode here. The game still looks amazing. The combat is fluid and incredibly satisfying at times, especially when fighting the machines. So far, the experience for me has almost been entirely bug-free. I've seen the thumbnails and titles on YouTube of other content creators talking about bugs, but I've honestly only encountered one bug throughout my gameplay. Yes, I'm serious. Now, admittedly, the bug was pretty game-breaking, as my game started hitching horribly inside of a cauldron, which is one of the many large instances in the game. But this only happened one time, and it got fixed by restarting the game. But other than that, Horizon Forbidden West has been a smooth ride so far, and I can't wait to get back to slaying some more metallic beasts after I'm done with this video. It's just that good. I'm giving Horizon Forbidden West 9 out of 10 meatballs, or 4.5 out of 5 chocolate balls. Yes, chocolate balls is a thing. Look it up, Swedish chocolate balls. They're delicious, just like this game. As always, have a great day guys. Mr. Holton signing out.